Currently, Counter-Strike Global Offensive is one of the most played first-person shooters on the planet. As such, new players are coming into the game each and every day. These videos are designed to help new players or refresh older players who may have forgotten or overlooked certain aspects. So this series is really about going over the basics. A lot of you guys will find this very redundant, but we're just going to be going over positions as a CT on Dust2, where to hold sights from most effectively. Alright, so here we have the long area, and double doors are over here. Now, something that is very important to know is that when you're looking at these double doors from the CT side, you actually have an advantage on being able to see your opponent first. As such, this is a good spot, especially on pistol round, if you just kind of hold your crosshair here, wait for the guy to peek out and shoot, because you actually get a bit of an advantage in reaction time. Usually you're going to want to smoke this off any way you can. There's a way to smoke it off over the top of this and such. It's really good for delaying anyone pushing out, and usually when there's smokes at long, it'll keep any kind of terrorist players from pushing out through long until late round, until they're going to commit to the site. Alright, so two important things to remember playing long A or playing cat. If you're playing long A, once you get to long A and you have control of it, you're either going to want to throw a smoke over the top of this or a smoke just straight at it and just block off the doors. I don't care what skill level you are, this works all the way up to global, and it's very important to do as it will delay anyone from pushing out long. On catwalk, you don't really need it to be set up there. It's more of, if you get into a situation, if you're playing the cat, you hold it. If all of a sudden your teammates at long need to fall back, or all of a sudden your long is not being held, that's when you're going to throw a smoke towards cat to delay anyone from pushing up cat and offset their pushes in case the long guys are pushing out, so you only have to focus on one area at a time. Now, another good spot to play is in pit over here at long. You can watch this little angle right here, and you can go down. Now, remember that this is three-dimensional, as all places in this game are, and peeking up from this side doesn't mean your head will be in the same spot as it is peeking up on this side. So it's good to vary up where you're going to peek up from, forward and backwards on this ramp, just because it changes the location of where your head's going to be and how big it's going to be when they peek out. If you're up close to it, it's usually right here, and if you're far back, it could be over here or over here, depending on how you peek up. See, here I'm a lot farther up, and if I'm ducked, it's more like here. So you can change things up, make it so your positioning is more unpredictable in those kind of areas. Now, playing on top of this is not actually as good as playing inside the pit, but I can see it being used in situations where you have a double stack. But in all honesty, if you're up here, they throw a flash over it, you have no way to protect yourself other than turning away from it. Now, this is actually another good place to play long from. It's a good surprise spot once in a while, but it is often checked. The reason this is good is if you vary it up with occasionally positioning yourself over here due to how the angle is, or if you have a teammate over here, they're going to be peeking out this way, and that guy can take the shot, or if they peek out over towards that wall over there. Now, making our way back over towards the site, I know that a lot of people are going to say that playing car is decent once in a while. Honestly, it's a very restrictive area. It's kind of a bad spot to play in. If you got a good AWP, you can hold this angle right here, but overall, it's not the greatest spot to be playing from, and chances are, if you do play it, you're going to need a smoke to get yourself back across, maybe a flash, and possibly a teammate to flash too. Smoke obviously wasn't even deep enough, so if there was a guy pit and I was crossing and he had an AWP, there's a good chance that I'd have died there, even with that flash going off. Now, another spot that is played occasionally, especially on pistol rounds, is right here. Because of the fire and the smoke that comes up from this fire, it can make it so that when people come out, they don't notice you immediately, and they'll just walk right past and start shooting towards the site, giving you free, easy shots towards them. It's actually a really cheeky spot, and it's not bad to use once in a while. Though, if you are here, again, it's one of those areas you don't have a fallback, so if they do spot you out, you're as good as dead. Alright, let's make our way up towards catwalk. There's several ways to play catwalk, one of which is playing it aggressively over here, but you can get nades stacked. Another is to play up on here with an AWP. This is a really nice spot because it gives you a nice fallback. You can take the first shot, fall off of it, and you have the angular advantage. You can play Goose from right here with an AWP as well. This actually, even though it's used a lot when you're a terrorist and you've gotten control of the site and holding it, it's actually not that great against a lot of guys trying to work up it. So when you're a CT and flashes and such are coming over, it's going to limit you into this corner, and when you re-peek, a guy will probably already be positioned there with the advantage. Now, another spot to play is behind these boxes in sight. This is a nice little spot because you can peek up here, just kind of hold this angle or hold that angle, and you can always change things up to peeking out on the left side. So as I was saying, this side is a lot harder because as you're peeking and moving, it makes it really hard. Unless you do a perfect peek, chances are they're going to be positioning their crosshair right here. So when you over peek it, you make them have to adjust. It makes the shot a little more difficult. It's a very finicky shot, and it's probably best to over peek it or to duck and peek out from a different spot of it. And then there's over here. Now, Catwalk has a few different little things here. One, you can be peeking this with an AWP, or peeking from this side with an AWP. Though if people come up on top here, peeking out, and you're aimed down here, you're gonna have a hard shot to flick up to them. And another thing is you can actually come right up this thing. And when you get up to the top of it, you'll notice because it'll line up like this, and this barrel kind of protects you, and you can just kind of sit behind this barrel and shoot people as they come out. Now, other areas for defending the site are more so here behind these barrels because it'll catch people off guard. It's not advised to do this when you're actually playing against, as a CT, against terrorists. It's better as a terrorist, and this is also a very unadvised spot, as they can just peek from that left side and you're kind of just stuck in this corner. And whereas you can catch them off guard, chances are they'll spot you out first. As a terrorist, you're going to be scanning a lot more of your locations. Now, if you're a terrorist holding this position, it works a lot more effectively because the CTs are usually more focused on just trying to get to the site as quickly as possible. And if there's a smoke down here, occasionally playing right here actually works in the exact same manner for getting that one and done spot. I do want to mention some bad places to play Catwalk from. Playing from down here, watching Catwalk, this might get you a kill, maybe two. Now, another place that a lot of people like to play from is right here, just behind this wall. And this can give you a quick kill, especially if you're a terrorist holding the site rather than a CT, because you can wait for them to come up, peek out, and just kind of get one kill. That being said, you don't really have a fallback here, so if there are multiple people coming up and you're a CT, just kind of holding from this position, you're going to have to wait till you hear them, peek out, try to take one down, then try to hide, I guess, behind this wall, because honestly, the next guy is going to try to trade you out, and you're not going to have a way to get all the way back to there. Really quickly, I just want to add AWP spots as a CT over at A. I did briefly go over them, but here you can see this spot is really nice as a CT. You can pick them as they come out. Usually the best way to do it is to set up your crosshair lined up with this and go all the way back against the wall, because no matter what, even if they duck peek or if they peek straight out, you're going to get a chest shot and it's going to count as an insta kill, right? So it's a nice little position to have your crosshair. If you're watching Catwalk from over here, getting on top of here makes it so you don't really have a good fallback. You can catch them off guard and you can see them earlier, but honestly that pole right there can screw you, and sometimes the bullet will hit that for no reason. So I would actually suggest you play it from down here. Just kind of line this thing up, look right here at that so you get the little reaction time advantage, and just kind of shoot them as they come out. Now if you are playing from sight, there used to be a nice little spot here, but they actually updated it so you can't see through that anymore. But you can still play this angle right here where you're just kind of holding. I still like to hold it from right there because, you know, that's a nice little gap. It's a good size, but if you need a little more time to react, then holding out like this is good. But, you know, just remember, they can peek on top of this box right in front of you, so you might have to move your crosshair up from this height to that height as they peek out. Now, this actually tends to work a little bit better than playing to the left side of that box, just because it's a harder angle for the terrorist to actually peek out on. So you can try to get your one kill here, throw a flash over, and move around towards here if you need. Also, don't forget, you can always use your smokes to delay them after that first kill, which is actually very important. Another place you can play from, which we talked about earlier, is watching from right here. And you know, this can work out pretty well if you got an AWP. If you got a rifle, not so much. Onward to playing middle. Now, something that I want to make sure everyone knows, and you guys should probably know this, you always smoke or nade middle when you're crossing at the beginning of the round. Alright, so next we have playing middle. This is the most difficult spot on the map, in my opinion. Chances are you're going to want to play it from the right side, so make sure you throw your nade, get across, and if you're going to be playing with a rifle, you're going to want to be playing over here. Now you can play up closer. You can play up close here. A lot of people never expect this, and you're able to get at least one kill like this. But that being said, try to hold on to your smoke. See if you can use your nade to get across early, and then later on in the round throw this smoke here. Then all you have to do is worry about the catwalk, and chances are if you're a rifler, you're not going to be wanting to watch that cat, and it gives you a chance to sneak over towards this side. Now this is actually a spammable spot from lower B tunnels, so watch out for that in case the other player knows that, or in case you're playing a cheater, because they will spam you through that door. Honestly, playing from this left side is usually more high risk, but the places you can play from on this side are right here. Playing this box right here, you want to make sure you have the fallback of the box when you're peeking it. If you play in front of it here, while it's good for catching rotations from this side, it actually really sucks from right here, because you'll be able to get that first kill possibly, and then you're just going to get traded out. Also, the biggest problem with playing over on this CT spawn side, so they'll throw this smoke that'll land into your CT spawn, and it'll block off everything. And really, your only option is to try to get up on top of that box, or stay back here holding, just making sure they don't push into CT spawn, maybe spamming right here a little bit. Or when you see that, you know, you can throw a flash and try to come out. But that is the biggest problem with that. If you give them control of mid, they can split over towards the B site, and if you only have one person playing B, it can make it incredibly difficult for that one player. Alright, as for playing middle with an AWP, there are really two nice little locations here. If you're going to be playing mid, you're going to want to drop this smoke. It's important to have this smoke up when you do this, and play from up here, and you can see this little area right here, and just kind of shoot them as they're going across if you have the reaction time for it, or for an easier shot you can play right here. This angle actually tends to catch people off guard more often than not. The farther back you play, the more of an angular advantage you have. If you play up close, which can actually be used, you don't have the angular advantage, but you do have the surprise advantage if you're going to peek late into the round towards this area, because you can peek out and just kind of flick up to wherever you see him. Playing mid with an AWP is actually quite difficult, and as such you'll see that sometimes people will even play this position up here, and that gives them no real fallback. And then there's this position from way over here towards the B site, which is my preferred position to play it with an AWP. It's very passive, and as long as you have a good B player holding your tunnels, you should be just fine, and anyone that comes out you have a major advantage on. One more spot that you can play middle from, which is better to be used if you're a rifler, right here, and if you're using a sniper rifle on top of here is not a bad idea. Though as a rifler you can play from up here, and you still actually do have a pretty good chance of a fallback, because you can drop a smoke and you can just make your way back over here, or you can just use a flash and just kind of flash out and make your way back into the site. But it's not a bad idea to play from this box right here. It's actually pretty secure, and it's one of the top spots to play mid from. Alright guys, on to the B site. Now when you get over here, a lot of people are going to say that you're going to want to throw a smoke into tunnels. You can do that. You can throw an incendiary instead. The main thing is you don't want them to be rushing you. So if you throw the incendiary, chances are, if they're full rushing it, they're going to drop a smoke here and they're going to try to push right through it, which gives you still a little bit of an advantage because they have to push through that smoke. You should be able to get the first guy, etc. Now, it does depend on what kind of gun you have. There are a lot of ways to play it with a rifle, not as many ways to play it with an AWP, but honestly, this is a very good sight when it comes to sniping. Now, if they are a heavy rush team, it's not a bad idea to set up over here. Just remember, if you jump up onto this platform right here, that if there is a guy sitting up there by that box where I'm aimed at right now, he actually gets there, he can get there before you and just hold this angle and you'll just go down instantly. It's actually much better to peek this from right up here because you actually get a little bit of an advantage with the angle here. And he'll barely be able to see you, and you can just kind of jump up here, peek this angle, and take him down. And when you jump up, you're not going to get peeked, so it comes down to just straight up making sure your movement's on. Other locations that you can play from with an AWP are one right here, playing a little more passively. This is really good against the rush because you will get here before they push in. Smokes and flashes will come in and you can use this box to kind of dodge them. Usually the flashes aren't super high, though occasionally people will throw them towards the back plat here. Again, keep an eye out for the flashes. Since that tunnel is fairly narrow, you can have your scope out, you'll see where the flashes are going, and if you need to dodge them, use the box or turn away from it. This is all you really need to do to dodge the flashes coming in from over here. Another place you can play from is right here. This again gives you no fallback though. So if you do play from this angle, you'll be able to spot them out, you'll be able to pick them, but you're really going to want to be able to call your teammate in and start throwing flashes just so you can get out and maybe reposition to this location here. This is actually a better location than over there. As I said, there's a lot of good sniper locations, and there is still one more, and that is on the back platform. Now you can play from right here. Make sure not to play from this corner over on this side over here, because if you play too far up on this, you can actually be seen when you're over here. So when you do play from as far back as you can. Makes it so you can't be seen, and your head's going to be smaller, and you've got that scope, so you kind of have the advantage anyways. And just kind of hold this and just kind of flick over to wherever you see your targets. That being said, this area is also good if you throw, because you can throw a smoke like that, and once that pops, it lets you reposition over to the barrels, which is another spot you can play. Here, if you're aimed around this level, this is around head level, and when they come out, you'll just have to kind of fire as you would from over there. Alright, let's move on to the rifle. Alright, so this is a very versatile site. There's a lot of nooks and crannies in which you can hide. This is a really good typical spot for people to hide. And it's a hard spot for the terrorists to check because they do have so much of the site looking at them when they come up to this point. When they come out here and try to look over this way, they do have to worry about the doors. They have to worry about anyone being over here. They have to worry about people being on platform. It's a lot of stress, a lot of, worry. But holding this with a rifle will almost guarantee you a kill, especially if you're doing it sporadically. Now, as always, remember that if you have that smoke, peek out, drop a smoke here, and then you can change positions if you ever feel that you're trapped in that corner and they know you're there. It can be naded to death. It's not good because of that. And same with here. This is another cheeky spot where you can get easy kills, but if you play it too predictably, they will check it. And even though it does give them a little bit of a disadvantage to come all the way out here to check this corner, because they can be shot from window, door, and a lot of other areas, use it sparingly. Another place you can play from is over here, though this doesn't work as well. It will get you a kill here and there, but unlike the other positions, when they actually peek this, they usually can't be seen from any other locations. Usually they'll throw a smoke like right here. It'll block the window from being able to hurt them, and they just have to kind of come out, look over here, and make sure that they don't get shot from that door, which will probably be smoked off as well when they come in. Alright, as for another place you can play from, it's actually an interesting spot. You can actually play from right here, inside sight. As they come in, you spot them over the top of this. You can use this to duck down behind it in case they're trying to peek you out, and through a flash, trying to make sure that they don't push. As for other locations you can play from a rifle, playing in back of sight actually isn't a bad thing. Don't peek this side, just because if they have an AWP, they have a bit of an advantage. But if you do play from back here, you can watch this area over here and just kind of spot out this area. You can see all of it pretty easily. So just kind of watch this. Should be able to dink the first guy, throw a flashbang. You kind of give them access to the site, but you can call for rotation from your mid teammate. Now, if you're playing in B, there is another thing you can do. You kind of don't want to be playing standing up, because if someone's got a scout, they can sometimes see at the top of your head over the top of this thing, and it just makes it a mess. They kind of know you're there, and they'll just be set up for you. But when you're behind this box, always duck. When you do peek out, you can throw a flashbang, and peek out, or you can just kind of sit here and you can watch on the left side, because chances are their very first player is not going to come straight towards platform. Chances are when they come out, they're going to come out this way. You'll be able to pick this guy off, and then you do have to worry about your other side, because after you pick off this guy, chances are next guys will come from over here. Now here's a spot that's not used very often. Playing in back of sight can be used, and you can actually use the top of this thing, kind of just duck down and listen for it. Have your teammates spot it out, and when they're making their way over towards plat, you just kind of peek up and you're able to usually catch someone off guard. Use your sound. If you're not good with sound, it's probably best not to use it. It is sort of an advanced tactic, and it will catch people off guard. It's not good to use all the time, and because of that, you don't really have too much of a fallback, but you do have this entire big box in front of you that you can manipulate and go around. So you can be like, oh, he's coming out. I'm able to pick up that first kill, and I'm going to reposition over towards the box and just kind of juke, taking them out from side to side. Anyways, guys, that's all for this video. Let me know what you guys think and how I can improve these videos in the future. And that is a pretty easy rundown on how to hold as a CT on Dust2. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and have a great day.